Bismillah, wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah. I pray that we are live, and I believe we are. I hope you can hear me. I hope you can hear me. And inshallah, we're going to kick off with one of the talks from our parenting leadership conference. So let me make sure that we're recording this as well. And I will be switching between Zoom and YouTube just to see what's going on. Like I said, it's been a while since we live streamed onto YouTube. So few technical glitches here and there, but Bismillah. Let's make it count. Let's make it count. Bismillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear brothers and sisters, welcome to this session. This session is part of the Parenting Leadership Conference that we have put together this weekend, especially for Muslim parents all over the world, to be able to learn from some of the people in our community who have made it their life's work to teach the deen, to learn the deen, to help families, to help communities around the world. And so, alhamdulillah, we are joined by several speakers, inshallah, this weekend. And you may know some of them, you may not know some of the others, but I can vouch for the fact that they are amazing, all of them, mashallah. And we're going to go live on Instagram for a little bit, just to, just to make it fun. So we have a full program, especially tonight. We have a very, very special occasion because one of my authors, Asumini Kasule, is launching her book, Lead with Love. And this book was written especially for parents who are raising teenagers, potentially with the blueprint of what our parents did, right? Many of our parents parented very similar to how they were parented and were potentially parenting in a new context. And that doesn't always work. So for example, the author, Asumini, her parents are from Uganda. And they came from Uganda and she grew up in the States. Now, if anybody is from back home or who is back home right now, you know that there are certain parental norms that are common across the society, okay? There's respect for elders, for example. There's the importance of marriage and staying married. There's respecting your husband. There's providing. There's obedience as well is a big one, right? Respecting authority. So these are the blueprints that many of our parents still use when parenting children who now have grown up in a completely different context. So in the case of the author, Asumini, her parents came from Uganda and brought her to the States. And of course, in the States, she went to school. And you already know what it is. You already know how different the parenting of her American peers would have been to what her parents, practiced at home. And so when Asumini got married, she expected to parent almost like her parents did, right? And it took her kids growing up in the States and her experiencing a separation from their father to learn how to lead differently as a parent, right? And we very rarely speak about parenting as leadership, but in essence, that is what it is. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has tasked us with the leadership of our families. And so whether we are, the husband, the emir of the family, the breadwinner, or we are the wife, we are the mother of the family, we could also be a breadwinner in many cases, we are the adults, right? And as the adults, we are going to be questioned for how we showed up as parents. Like I said, this book is Lead with Love, and it is like a manual for parents really to heal themselves and then be able to heal the relationship with their teenage children. So I hope you will join us later on tonight for this launch. It's going to be an amazing experience, and you'll be able to buy the book as well. And we'll put the link to the book in the description. So if this sounds like the type of book that you would be interested in, then please, please, please do buy a copy and support our sister, inshallah. So my session is not going to be overly long, because you guys should know right now, I don't like talking and talking and talking for long periods of time. But I would like, inshallah, in this session to just share a few reminders for us as parents. And Allah knows, as always, this is a reminder to myself first. Okay, this is a reminder to myself first, and I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it beneficial for anybody else out there. When we become parents, a lot of us are looking forward to parenting. When we hear the news of a pregnancy, there's so much joy, there's so much anticipation. Obviously, it's something many of us, dream about, have wanted for a long time, etc. And we, alhamdulillah, we have our children. And I don't think anything really can prepare you, especially as a mother, for what being a mother is going to entail, right? Many of us had mums who were a little bit superwomanish, okay? They were doing that superwoman thing. So we hardly knew really whether they were coping or weren't coping, whether they were handling it or not handling it. But I think our generation is different. And I think nobody really tells you sort of what to expect when you're expecting, what to expect when you become a parent. And so a lot of it is learning on the job. And we do, alhamdulillah, we learn on the job. We figure it out. By Allah's grace, we get used to breastfeeding, we get used to potty training, okay? We find our way through the early days and the toddler tantrums and the sleeping schedules and the tiredness and the overwhelm. We find our way through. However, what can happen for many of us is that we can start to operate on autopilot. Now, what does operating on autopilot mean? It means we do what we have to do because we have to do it. Okay, put a yes in the chat if you know what I'm talking about, especially moms. Doing what you have to do because you have to do it. And it becomes simply a part of your routine, a part of your daily to-do list, your daily task list, and we start to parent on autopilot, right? We say the same things when our kids do this or that, right? We not show up. We just do what needs to be done. And we do it from a place of, well, if I don't do it, who's going to do it? It just needs to be done. From a place of duty rather than devotion, right? From a place of, I just have to do this, rather than I get to do this. Why am I saying this? Well, one of the things that I've noticed about us as human beings is that we tend to forget. I'm going to say that again. We as human beings, we tend to forget. What do we tend to forget? We tend to forget the things that we asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for. Put forget in the chat if you know what I'm talking about. There was a time when you were making dua for a spouse and you were in every salah, in every sujood, you were asking Allah for that spouse, right? Maybe some of you are waking up for tahajjud, fasting extra fasts, praying extra prayers, okay? Asking for that spouse. And then Allah gave you that spouse. And you forget that this is what you asked Allah for. And so when you're annoyed with your spouse, or you're bored of your spouse, or you can't be bothered anymore, right? You're just looking at them like, ugh. But you forget that this is what you made dua for. Now, of course, I know we never make dua for trials, right? We make dua for khair, for barakah, for good things. But the reality of this life is that everything that we have comes at a cost. Nothing that we have or that we do in this life costs us nothing. Everything has its khair, and it has its good and its bad, right? This is dunya. This is not Jannah. So even the things that we made dua for, don't expect the thing you made dua so hard for to make you happy all the time. Because that's not how this world is designed. This dunya doesn't work like that. You will ask Allah for a job, Allah will give you the job. Guess what? That job gets to tire you out. That job gets to get boring. That job gets to be something you want to change after a while, right? You make dua for your new house, but then the plumbing goes on the blink, or it gets broken into, or you realize that the traffic outside is unbearable, right? You made dua for it, and Allah gave it to you. But Allah gave it to you knowing that even in the giving, there would be a test. And so this is the same for our children as well, for our families as a whole. We made dua for a spouse. Our spouse is going to annoy us. Our spouse is going to get on our nerves. Our spouse is not going to give us everything we want. Is not going to understand, because that is the nature of dunya, right? Similarly, with our children, we make dua for our children, and then when we are living with having those children, we realize that there are challenges, there are difficulties, there are days when we don't want to do it. And some of us can start to feel a bit hard done by, right? A little bit hard done by, tired, overwhelmed, stressed, overworked, not supported, okay? And if you're parenting in that space, it'll be very difficult for you to bring your full self to this role of parenting, because you just want to do the bare minimum. You just want to get through the day. Am I right? Sometimes you just want to get through the day. That's the best you can do. So I'm here today with a reminder to myself and to you to remember what you made dua for before you got pregnant, while you were pregnant, in those early days. You made dua for this, and now Allah has given it to you. How are you going to show up? How are you going to show up? Showing up is a choice that we all get to make. And it's a fantastic choice. It is a powerful choice, because you showing up, regardless of your circumstances, changes the game. It changes the game. Very often, we are faced with circumstances that we are not in control of. Put control in the chat if you agree. Very often, our circumstances, right, what's going on around us, is not in our full control. Most of the time, it's not in our full control. And so if we can only be good parents, good spouses, good colleagues, good bosses, good whatever, when the circumstances are favorable, then we may find that we are not very good spouses, parents, colleagues, etc. a lot of the time, because we're not in charge of the circumstances. What we are in charge of is how we show up. We have the choice. We can decide to phone it in, to do the bare minimum, or to show up. Now, what does showing up mean? Showing up means to bring your full self to the role. First and foremost, to accept the assignment. That's where showing up starts. I didn't put this in my book, but I'll put it in the next edition. Showing up starts with accepting the assignment on your life. And sometimes that's hard, because you didn't ask for that assignment, okay? If you've got rowdy kids, you didn't ask for that assignment, okay? If you've got kids who struggle at school, you didn't ask for that assignment. If you've got a husband who is a workaholic, you didn't ask for that assignment, right? If you lose your parents young, you didn't ask for that assignment. If you lose your spouse, You didn't ask for that assignment. If your child struggles with their iman, you didn't ask for that assignment. So now you've been given the assignment. What are you going to do? You have some choices. You can refuse the assignment, right? Outright. You can say, no, I'm out. I'm not doing this. You can leave, right? You can give up. You can say, this is too much for me. I can't take this. I can't deal with this. I've had enough. People do it. People think that, oh, you have to accept, but there are people who don't accept, okay? There are people who leave their families. There are people who walk out. There are people who ask for a divorce. There are people who give the kids to the grandparents, right? So you can refuse the assignment outright. Then you can deny the assignment. Now, what does that mean? Denying the assignment is not giving up completely, is not refusing completely because you stick around, but in your heart, it's not real. You're in denial. It's not real. This is not happening. This is not me. You know when people say, this is not what I signed up for? That's denying the assignment. That's denying the assignment. This is not what I signed. Now, if you don't refuse the assignment and you don't deny the assignment, there's another option. You can accept the assignment on your life. You can say from a place of tawakkul, meaning trust, complete trust in Allah, Ya Rab, you know what you are doing. You know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. You know me. You know these children. You know this husband. You know this family. You know my capacity. You know me better than I know myself. If this is the assignment that you've given me, I accept. I accept the assignment on my life with gratitude because I know that there is khair in it, because I know that my Lord doesn't play games. My Lord will not put me in a situation where I am bound to fail. My Lord will not put me in a situation where I am guaranteed to be humiliated. I am guaranteed to fail. That's not my Lord, and it's not your Lord. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chooses a test for us, He knows that we can pass this test because He has promised in the Quran that He will never burden a soul more than it can bear. Yes? So if that's the case, why do we not trust in Him? Why do we say, I didn't sign up for this? This is too much for me. I can't take it. No. You can. You can. But you have to believe it first. I can't tell you. I can't convince you that you have everything you need to show up in your life, in your responsibilities, in your roles, that you have everything you need, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has equipped you with everything you need. I can't convince you. You have to believe it. Because once you believe it, everything changes. If you believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has favored you, even in the trials, even in the tests, even in the challenges, guess what? You see abundance everywhere. You see abundance, and you see it. You see it with people that I'm sure you all know and you have seen them before, who seem to be living a life of tests, but their hearts are full. Their hearts are full of joy, of sakina, tranquility, of trust. They have full tawakkul. My Lord's got me. And I've got this because my Lord's got me. Right? And so how does this relate to us as parents? Showing up as parents. Showing up as parents means that we accept the assignment of these children. And we agree to show up as ourselves with full tawakkul, with energy, with vision, with hope, to do the job of parenting and raising the next generation. We can't afford to phone it in. We can't afford to outsource it. We can't afford to avoid this assignment because this assignment is your legacy. Allahu Akbar, Allah, 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 Allah. May Allah always allow me and you to remember. Whatever else you do in this dunya, remember, those children are your legacy and will live on after you have gone. So the question is, what will they carry with them into the future? What lessons, what values, what characteristics will they carry from you into their children? Because that's what will last. That is what will remain of you once you are gone. And so show up, mothers, fathers. Let's show up for these children. Let's show up as leaders, as people with agency who make choices, who decide, in spite of the circumstances, that things are going to be a particular way, that we as a family are going to be a particular way. You guys, you've got no idea. Allah put me in this position, speaking to you today for a reason, because He knows that my heart needs to hear this. And I don't know who else out there needs to hear this, but I want to say it to myself first, and I want to say it to you. We are so blessed. We are so blessed. There are, in this world today, more than probably ever in the history of mankind that will die alone with no children to inherit from them. Check it, clock it, think about it. This generation is probably going to be the first generation in the whole of humankind, maybe, where there are people who will die alone with no descendants. Their bloodline will end. Khalas, that's it. When they're gone, and that's it, finished. Alhamdulillah, Allah has given us descendants. Allah has given us a legacy. Allah has given us a chance to impact the future, to leave something real behind. So my parents, my dua for you is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts that passion back in your heart, puts that fire in your heart. And I want this weekend to be a source of inspiration for you. Inspiration, motivation, guidance, so that you and I can re-plug into the work of parenting, the sacred work of parenting, the sacred work of shaping the future of children. And I don't want you to miss a single. So join us tonight for our book launch with Sister Asumini. The link will be available there for you to order. Do not miss it. And I will be going live on Instagram as well, inshallah. And tomorrow we have a packed schedule. So you just want to have everything cancelled tomorrow. You're just going to be on this YouTube channel, watching this conference, taking notes, sending in questions. And I can't wait to see you on the next session, inshallah. I will see you later. I believe it is 9 p.m. UK time. I believe, if not 8. Check my story. And I will see you on. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you so much to our VIPs, Jazakallah khairan, and everybody on YouTube. I pray that this was beneficial to you. And please do share the link with anybody who you feel needs to hear this reminder.